Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. It's going to be a short one today. I haven't got too much to say about this game, but I thought I should cover it because it is a Neptunia game, and as just about everybody that follows me on this channel knows, I am a fan of Neptunia. This is Dimension Tripper Neptune Top Nep. It was just released on PC. I don't know if it's going to come to any other platforms. I would be surprised. But it will run on just about any PC out there. So as long as you can run Steam, you should be able to run this. It is very modest on the requirements. It is a Space Harrier clone through and through. So this is the first time that Neptune has been a Space Harrier clone. So it is a little bit different from that perspective. But the game doesn't try and be anything other than that. It is very much on the nose in terms of its homage. It's not even really a homage. It's an out-and-out clone. And it just runs with it. It just aims to be a decent to good Space Harrier clone. There are 2 difficulty levels. So if you are into your Space Harrier, then you can lift the difficulty. There is also online leaderboards. So if you do get into this, just like in the arcades, you can have a good time with it. The thing is, I'm not the world's biggest fan of Space Harrier. I'm one of the few people that grew up with arcade games that just never got into this one. I'm really bad at it, as you can probably see from the footage. I don't know, it's something about the perspective of Space Harrier that makes it hard for me to aim and hit enemies and stuff. I've never been able to wrap my head around it really, and that makes it pretty unenjoyable for me, to be honest. So I almost wasn't going to pick this up, but again, it is a Neptunia game. I feel a fierce loyalty towards this series, so I thought I should give it a go. And for what it's worth, I can see that this would be enjoyable if you are a fan of Space Harrier. What I question is whether you'll be a fan of this if you're a fan of Neptunia. If you come to this as a fan of Space Harrier, then you're going to have a better than average time. If you come to this as a fan of Neptunia, then I'm not so certain, even though this is definitely made as fan service for Neptunia fans. I don't mean in the sense that it's got swimwear and all those kinds of things. It is just a game that has been made particularly for the fans of the series. So it has been made for you if you're a fan of Neptunia. I'm just not sure if it will resonate. And I wanted to do this video and just talk briefly about that because I have overviewed it a bit in the past with a couple of my other videos on the Neptunia series, but I'm not sure Idea Factory really knows what to do next with this series, and it's a little bit disappointing. The basic concept of Neptunia was always that it was about the console wars and the way that, Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sega were at odds with one another and the kind of wars they got up to and the way that they competed with one another for fans and all that stuff. The series' genesis was to make fun of that. But that's not really a joke that you can sustain indefinitely. And certainly the industry has moved on from that as well. So it's kind of like telling an old joke at this stage. They needed to find a new way of presenting the Neptunia series to keep it relevant and interesting. And I get the sense that they're still searching for that. They haven't quite found it yet. I don't think that this game was ever meant to be a prototype for the entire future of the series. It was just meant to be a little experimental thing. But they've really missed the boat about what a lot of people love about Neptunia in it, unfortunately, in the process. The thing is, people come to the Neptunia series because they like the characters. First and foremost, it's a character-driven series. People like the ditzy, airheaded Neptune. They like the way that Blanc is a flat-chested, bookish girl that gets very cranky when people make jokes about her chest size. They like that Vert is kind of the opposite of that. They like that Noir is a parody of the Sun type character. They like the character archetypes that are in the Neptunia series. With this particular game, you don't get any of that. It's not just that it doesn't have narrative, but it doesn't have personality either. This sprite that's flying around is Neptune, but I get no sense of her character as I play with this game. In fact, you forget who she is pretty quickly to focus on the actual action. As you play on, you'll eventually unlock additional characters that can help you in battle, at least for a short period of time. And those characters are also drawn from the series. But again, you don't get any sense of character. There's no quips, there's no dialogue, there's no narrative, there's no personality in how the characters move or behave or anything like that. They're just sprites. So they've really missed the trick in terms of providing fans the fan service of their favorite characters doing their thing in a Space Harrier style setting. I didn't necessarily need the game to have a massive narrative. I certainly wasn't expecting that going in because it was an arcade game. But I did expect characterization to come through, and that's something I've always expected from the Neptunia series, which I didn't get from this one, unfortunately. Meanwhile, the game's enemies are there, but divorced to the kind of context of the Neptune series, the humor that they express isn't quite the same. So, as anybody who's played a Neptunia game knows, the enemies can be absolutely hilarious because there'll be literal warp pipes that attack you, or screenshots from games, or the bosses, as you would have seen from earlier footage in this stream, can be things like giant eggplants and stuff. It's a whole lot of nonsensy, kind of meme-y, fan servicey style humor that is expressed through these characters or these enemy designs. And that is in this game, but again, divorced of the context of narrative and characterization, you don't get much of a sense of any of that as you play. So, unfortunately, while I've enjoyed the way that this game is played, and I always enjoy an opportunity to get some hands-on time with a Neptune game, this one is one of the weaker Neptunia releases. It's not that it is a weaker game, and again, if you're a fan of Space Harrier, then you're probably going to have a pretty decent time of it. If you're a fan of both Space Harrier and Neptunia, sorry, because without having played the previous Neptunia games, you're not really going to know anything about any of the characters or enemy designs or anything. But if you have played those earlier Neptune games and you are a fan of Space Harrier, you'll have a decent time with this one because it does play nicely and checks all the necessary boxes there. I just don't think it's a particularly good Neptunia game, unfortunately. So anyway, that is enough for this video. Like I said, it is a short one, but I have showed you pretty much, or at least half the game in just the time that I've been talking. It's also very short. If you're going to get replay value out of it, it's because you're hunting high scores and things. So yeah, I don't have too much else to say at this stage about this game. I will have a review up on digitallydownloaded.net. It's probably also going to be quite a short review, but check that out if you do want to read a little bit more about it. And other than that, please do mash that like and subscribe button if you enjoy my videos. I know I've been a little bit quiet of late, but I swear to you, I am back now, and I will be doing videos at a good rate, and I'll be covering much more extensive and deep games than this one in the not too distant future. Stay tuned for that. So do mash that like and subscribe button. If you do want to support what we're doing, not just here, but also on digitallydownloaded.net, then you can back us on Patreon for $1 a month, or more if you're feeling generous, but $1 a month will get you in. And in doing so, you also get our magazine, which is up to 56 pages per month, and we go into all kinds of depth with all kinds of interesting things to do with not just Japanese games, but also culture and art and film and music and all the rest of it. It's not just about video games. It's for anybody that likes Japanese games and entertainment in general. So that is a bonus if you back us on Patreon as a way of us saying thank you for supporting what we do. All right, I'll head off. Have a good week, everybody. We'll see you at the next video.